What is up, you guys? Thank you for watching the first video in my four-part series of the Dana Day Variety Box deck review. Um, so there's going to be four parts, and this is the first part. What I'm going to do with this review series is there are 12 decks in the Variety Box. I'm going to place each deck in a place, like first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all the way to 12th place, and review them for you and cover each one on handling and design basis. Because I'm doing 3 decks a video, I'm not going to use any still images or that kind of stuff because I'm trying to make it as short as possible. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it with the first deck I plan on reviewing, which is the number 12 deck. The Prime deck, they were designed exclusively for Art of Play by Ben Newman. And printed by Expert Playing Card Company. Now you can see here the front of the tuck box, all the geometric shapes. That's a continuing idea behind this deck. It was kind of the driving force, is to have a deck basically made with geometric shapes. You can see a peek at your back design here, and you can say it says Prime on either side. So opening it up and going straight into it. Like I said, geometric shapes are something that you're going to see a lot of in this deck. So you get your jokers here, no reveal or anything there, and you get 2 add cards. And like I said, that was a peek up to your back design on the back of the box, and you can see your ace of spades here. And I'll just thumb through it kind of quickly, and you can see how the geometric shapes play into it: the clubs and the spades, diamonds and hearts. So you can see all that and how how the geometric shape idea plays into this deck. And first off, I want to say I love the back design because it gives this really awesome effect where, okay, let's say you spread it out in your hand. Okay, hold on. Let's say you spread out in your hand. That's a pretty neat spread, but because of the way the back is designed, it gives the impression of it being a pretty messy fan. And I'm not saying that can be beneficial or anything in any situation. I'm not sure if it could be. I just like that it gives an effect. I like a deck having a different effect to it when you fan it out, like the Verts decks being one color one way and one color the other way. It's not necessarily beneficial in any circumstance, but it's just cool. It's just nice to, hey, this looks different, okay? So this looks really messy when fanned, okay, which is a cool thing. So that's pretty much it for design. I'm gonna get into my ratings really quick and move on to the next deck. Design, a 5 out of 5 because it's great. I mean, the design, there was a lot of work put into it. It was really thought out, really well planned, and it looks great. So 5 out of 5 on design. I really appreciate decks that are designed really well. But handling, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. And I know that's kind of a bad rating, and that's just simply because um, it was like I was kind of talking about earlier, it being printed by Expert Playing Card Company. I have quite a few decks printed by them, and they all have a plastic coating. Okay, so they all feel plastic and are really hard to manipulate, which is something I really do not like in the decks, is when they feel like plastic. And also, this deck it's a one-way back, the back design, which is not a huge deal, but it is a one-way back. You can see whenever the white side of this center diamond is facing this way, and then you can see here it is not. They're facing opposite directions. So it is one-way back. So that is my review over the Prime deck. 3 out of 5 in handling and a 5 out of 5 in design. The next one, number 11, is the Fontaines deck. And the reason it's placed so low, some people might be huge fanboys of Fontaine and that kind of stuff, and believe me, I am one too. I like the Fontaine decks. I've got like 2 bricks of black Fontaines. The only reason that I'm placing it this low is because the blue Fontaines had a big issue with handling. Design, I give it a 4 out of 5 because even though it is pretty plain, it's unique. There's not a whole lot of stuff out there like it, because as opposed to your regular just, one symbol at the top, one symbol at the bottom classic card, this has a symbol that continues top to bottom without ever touching in the center. So it's a little bit different. It's kind of unique, and that's why I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 as opposed to a 3 out of 5, because I would usually give it a 3 out of 5 in comparison to the rest of the decks in this review. So, and handling, I'm going to give a very, very sad 3 out of 5. And it's just simply because if I take this black Fontaine deck that I have here, that I have been playing around with for the last 2 weeks, and I spread it out in my hands, it fans pretty well. I mean, it's an okay fan, I guess. It's not fantastic, but it's pretty good. Okay, and I've been handling this for like the last 2 weeks. The way this deck handles now is the way the Blue Fontaine deck handled when it first comes out of the box. Okay, which is pretty bad, which means that when it got to 2 weeks, being 2 weeks old of heavy, heavy usage, it was almost unusable. It's clunky, it clumps a lot, like a really, really old bicycle deck. So that was kind of an issue. That is not an issue with the Black Fontaines. The Black Fontaines handled like a dream. They are fantastic. This was just the second deck in this installment of Fontaines, and Zach Mueller was just kind of getting used to um, different finishes and different stocks and that kind of stuff. And it just came out not handling that great. But it's still an awesome deck. It's still worth quite a lot of money, which is why I'm leaving it sealed. So there you have it. There's that. And moving on to deck number 10, I have the Ultimate deck. Now, I am a huge, huge fan of this deck. I mean, immense fan. Love it so much. A design, if I could give 6 out of 6 in design, I would, because so much work went into this deck. You can just see how elegant the back design is. And then if you know anything about this deck, the idea was to have each face look different, have a different illustration. So the amount of design that went into this deck is absolutely phenomenal. If I could give it a 6 out of 5, I would in a heartbeat without any kind of hesitation. The only problem is with all this illustration on the cards, there's so much ink here and different colors of ink that it makes the cards a little stiff, a little tough, okay? So design, a 5 out of 5, handling, a 4 out of 5, okay? Overall, 4 out of 5. So a great, great deck. It just, with the amount of ink there, it just makes it a little bit clunky. So like I said, please don't get angry or upset because I gave your favorite deck a bad review or whatever. It's not that any of these decks are great. Any of these decks, including the last one, the bottom one, I consider some of the best decks I have in my collection. And some of them, they're all really amazing, really great decks, and a really good job well done by every company that has produced these decks. It's just I'm comparing them with other decks that came in this box exclusively. So don't, if you disagree with one of my ratings, please feel free to let me know. But thank you again so, so, so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.